This morning, the entire village is taking part in a highly elaborate and rare form of fishing. But instead of a fishing rod, I'm handed a machete. We're preparing for a technique called the gruelling, which is a very labour-intensive technique. A lot of work. The entire village is going to take part. But each year... Two of the village elders, Vincent and Lawrence, are leading the preparations. We are going to catch enough fish to feed the entire village, using just some vines and the cooperation of the tribe. Do the women ever help this job?
Yeah, sometimes they help.
But none here today? Clearly, Vincent is a man of few words, and I'm wondering if I'm asking too many questions. After hours of cutting, tying and winding, the vines are ready for fishing the next day. Now, the entire village is going fishing in shark-infested waters. It looks like I'm about to test the claim that the tribe has immunity from shark attack. I'm not sure if I'm the fisherman or the bait, but I'm doing my best to look unconcerned. Hundreds of feet of vines are tied together to form a huge floating chain. This will be used to herd whole schools of fish into a trap. What I'm amazed about is that this is not a net. This is just a, this isn't really a physical barrier. Well, it is up to a point. So I'm intrigued to see how it works. I think it's, there's possibly a bit of psychology going on, fish psychology. For some reason, they won't come past this. Somehow, this thin vine must scare the fish and drive them into the heart of the trap. Right, we've now actually closed the circle. This is the end of one vine. The end of the other one is that way. So you can see now we're starting to get a double line of vines, and it's getting thicker. The best spearmen in the village stand outside the circle of vines, ready to pick off any fish that might break through. It's a bump-head parrotfish. A great catch, but as the blood trickles into the water, no one else seems at all concerned. Bull sharks are often seen in these waters, and from experience I know their grim reputation as man-eaters. Sharks can detect 1 part of blood in 1 million parts of water, and the tribe and I plan to spend the whole day waist-deep in the sea, spearing fish. What's happening now is the finishing touches are being added to the trap at the centre of the ring of vines. The noose begins to tighten. Normally, these would be fish that I would admire in an aquarium. Now, I have to kill them. It's a measure of my immersion within the tribe that spearing fish is becoming second nature. Where I come from, if something looks pretty, you don't stick a spear through it. But I mean, everything looks pretty here. You've got to eat something, you've got to stick a spear through something. If you didn't do that, you'd starve. The villagers only catch what they know they can eat. If they catch too many fish in the corral, they'll release what they don't need. This one's no good. With no electricity or fridges, the fish need to be eaten straight away, or they'll rot in the tropical heat. Each fish is wrapped in palm leaves and smoked in a fire overnight. This feast will fill up the entire village.
Oh!
If this one pulls me over, I'm in real trouble.
I was nearly tipping forward over that edge. I was going a little bit. My groin is starting to ache. This is strong fish. The rod's jammed in. This is physical stuff. Physical work. It's coming up. Strong fish. But I think it's tiring. Tiring. There it is. There's the fish. Hey. Good grief. My crutch is killing me. And there it is.
But does it weigh more than 150 pounds?
The measure of the beast, that is 7 foot 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 foot 4 inches.
And then you open the mouth. You can actually hear the echo coming out of the mouth there. Hello. And I can see its gullet opening and closing. If I was so inclined, I could put my fist down there quite easily.
That is an eating machine.
The whole thing is nearly 8 foot of just solid rippling muscle. If that grabbed hold of your leg, that's an unpleasant enough thought, but if that decided not to let go and you were swimming, you'd be history.
I'm about 175 pounds on a good day or a bad day, depending how you look at it. This fish could be more than that. Yeah. 74 kilos, that's about 163 pounds. Not quite as big and fat and ugly as I am. What I find really hard to credit is that I was doing those experiments where I was trying to see how much force I could exert in the water, and there was somebody on the bank with a spring balance just hooked around their finger reading off, okay, 30 or 40 pounds. This thing in the water was almost pulling me off the bank. I was having to dig in and really act like I was in a tug of war. How something with nothing solid to actually grab hold of can exert that force in the water, I find quite mind-boggling. It is very, very impressive indeed.
There's one down here, or it might be two. There's a tail sticking out, about 4 or 5 foot down in the water, but it's right underneath this rock. It did move, as I came past, it did sort of shuffle further in though. But you understand, the problem is, I just have the tail, a little bit of tail sticking out. So hold the tail, grab tight.
Okay.
Okay, so grab tight, and then in the net. Okay, I'm worried it might double around and have a go at me.
It is a tough and robust animal, so I need to get a firm grip for its safety and mine. This isn't a monster I can catch on the end of a line. I've got to use my hands. I have caught a Hanzaki, better known as the giant Japanese salamander, one of the largest salamanders in the world, and the creature that I believe is behind the Kappa legend. They get bigger than this, but wow, this creature is aggressive, even though we mean it no harm. The good thing is that these guys, unlike fish, are just as at home on land as they are in the water. Pretty soon, he calms down.
That is a Hanzaki noodled, and I'm very pleased that even with my gloves on, my hands stayed away from that mouth. He wasn't too amused by the fact that he was just pulled out of his hole like that. But this, I think, is the creature I've been after. Looks a bit like a fish, but it's got hands. And that's exactly what this has got.
Mr. Toshimoto is monitoring the health of the Hanzaki population along this river,
It's nearly 10 pounds.
measuring, weighing and micro-tagging every one of his catches,
Counting all the digits, all normal.
so that when he recaptures them he can build up a clear picture of how this incredibly rare animal is faring in the wild.
Best part of a yard long.
And now we have collected a new one for his study.
This is an animal that hasn't been caught before. It doesn't have a chip in it, so that's a really good capture. Normally I wouldn't be allowed to touch this, but the fact that I'm acting as Mr. Toshimoto's assistant means that I'm able to work with this animal.
There are only a few pockets of these endangered giant salamanders left in the wild, these creatures that haven't changed since the age of the dinosaurs. Their survival is an important part of Japan's natural heritage. And when I try to release it, this national treasure still makes one last attempt to bite me, before disappearing, unfazed by his capture.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the River Monsters page.